Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Phillips with Harvested Financial, and we are here today to talk about the markets. It is Friday. It is Friday, February 12th. And while it's not a regular expiration, it is, of course, an expiration Friday for all those stocks that have weekly names in it. So we like to celebrate expiration Friday regardless. And today, let's talk about what's going on in the markets first. But I have an interesting discussion where I'm not going to talk about a trade, but I'm going to talk about how to think about all-time highs, because we're looking at all-time highs in Bitcoin, and a lot of people are asking, what do I do right now? How can I get in? But first, let's take a sneak peek at what the equity markets are doing right now. Well, SPY is trading right around $390. That's off about 67 cents or 17 basis points. We also have IWM down 80 cents or 40 basis points at 225.76. The VIX is up just a little bit, about 48 cents at 21.73, and the Qs are also down about a buck 40 or 43 basis points. So one of the names that I did not include there, but is making crazy all-time highs is Bitcoin. So, of course, let's talk about the Friday special and BTC. So, is it too late to get in? Let's talk about how to think about getting off zero. So, right now, Bitcoin is trading right around 47,055. So, we saw some highs up over 48 into the 49 range even overnight. But relative to where we were a couple days ago, relative to where we were a month ago, this currency just keeps flying. The asset here, it continues to appreciate. We continue to see more people get interested. We talked a little bit earlier this week about how Tesla's getting involved with their $1.5 billion balance sheet buy. Twitter also announced earlier this week in their earnings that they were considering using it. So we're seeing a lot of momentum behind the name, and we're seeing it start to hit the headlines, and it's moved beyond just the crypto crazies that are thinking about the decentralized non-fiat world, but it's actually increasingly becoming mainstream because more and more investors are recognizing the value that this can hold as a component of their portfolio. Now, certainly not going to go down the entire maximalist route of thinking with regards to Bitcoin. Don't necessarily think that this is going to completely disrupt all governments and currencies and central banks, but certainly as an asset class, it's growing in terms of acceptance, and it's growing in terms of diversification power. And really, when we think about assets, we want to think about their potential to diversify our portfolios as well as be a store of long-term value. And was listening to some interesting conversations about Bitcoin the other day, and Michael Saylor and Ross Stevens made a really interesting point. It was actually Ross that made the point specifically that Bitcoin is not necessarily volatile. It's the fiat that's volatile. It's the price of college in fiat that's volatile. It's the price of long dated obligations that we have, such as mortgages or college educations that we have to pay for in the future. Those are volatile in terms of fiat. If you look at the appreciation in the price of college education, that's insane, and that's denominated in dollars. Denominated in Bitcoin, we're looking at a different calculus here. So thinking about Bitcoin as a potential store of value really kind of starts to change the calculus. And I also want to communicate that it's not just the price that you need to think about here. That's one of the things that investors find most intimidating when they're looking at this new currency. They're saying, how is this thing trading $48,000? It's just a bunch of arithmetic in the cloud. Well, that might be true, but price is not what we need to focus on here when thinking about the long term. Yes, when you're going to make an investment, it's incredibly scary to buy something and see the price change. Inevitably, your first buy will tick against you. It always feels like that. But you have to ask yourself the question, where is Bitcoin going to be 5 years from now? Where's it going to be 10 years from now? If your horizon is long enough, then really incorporating something that's a little bit different into your portfolio can have a significant effect. So getting off zero is sometimes the hardest part. And it's particularly hard when the asset is trading at such a high value. So we think about this with Bitcoin right now with its elevated price, but we also think about that with the overall equity markets. There have been a lot of people talking for months and even years now about how overvalued the market is and how some of these tech companies have completely dislocated from their actual value. The rise in share price at Tesla has been astronomical, and it has many people questioning when's the right time to sell. Well, the reverse calculus also happens when you're thinking about how to sell and divest. So if you're worried about getting started, the best way to do it is to just start dipping your toes in there. whether it's buying the smallest unit of Satoshis on your Bitcoin investment, or whether it's slowly starting to divest from shares that you think might be too expensive, starting small is always the best approach. So think about, in the example of the equity markets, using covered calls to give up some of that potential upside in exchange for buffering the downside. If you're looking to increase certainty, you can define your outcomes with options. Writing a covered call is accepting money today in exchange for foregoing potential value or uncertainty about the upside. So starting small, you own 1,000 shares of Tesla. Well, great for you, but starting to sell maybe one call, two calls against that is a great way to start slowly divesting. Starting to trickle in, buy a little bit of Bitcoin. It's going to go down. It's going to go against you. Every trade will go against you at some point. Well, that's not always true, but the getting off zero is some of the most powerful thing you can do in an investment. If you're wrong, it's only a little bit of money that you've lost. If you're right, well, that's a fantastic feeling to be right, but it also lets you test the waters and lean into what's working. So if you're concerned about overall valuation, whether it's on the upside and you're looking to get involved in a cryptocurrency, or whether it's on the downside and you're concerned about valuation, dabbling and starting small is a great way to get off zero. At Harvested Financial, we believe that the systematic implementation of strategies is the best way to do that. By setting an Odyssean contract and enforcing your sell price in the case of a covered call option, or your buy price in the case of writing a put, there's all kinds of different ways we can use options and their time value to create positive portfolio outcomes. So, Harvested Financial, every day, here talking on the Daily Bread about different and interesting ways to use options. We talk about covered calls on Monday. We talk about collars on Tuesday. We talk about butterflies on Wednesday. We talk about vertical spreads on Thursday. But Friday, we think about the markets and how to maximize the value of your portfolio with option strategies. Systematically staying involved, keeping that Odyssean contract and rigor in your portfolio is going to bring success in the long term. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Happy trading out there in the markets today. It's Expiration Friday, of course, and we will see everyone again on Monday here at the Daily Bread, 8:35 Central, 9:35 Eastern. But in the meantime, be sure to check out our Twitter at harvested_DAFE, because derivatives are for everyone. Thanks again. We'll see you all.